Well, I hope everybody by now realizes that nonviolent communication is not about communication. I mean, a little bit of it, a tiny little piece of it. Nonviolent communication is an integration of several things, of which communication is just a little part. And nonviolent communication is certainly not the 4 steps. The more we think of it as mechanically observation, feelings, needs, requests, the harder it's going to be to live nonviolent communication. So what is it? That's the hardest question for me to answer about the process, what it is. Because it's much easier to say what it isn't. It isn't communication, just communication. Communication is a part. For me, the most important part of it is the consciousness of what it's trying to serve, its purpose. What it is designed to do, whatever it is. So for me, the most important part of it is an intention. Some people in English, instead of intention, would probably use the word the spirituality that it's designed to serve. I'm reluctant to use the word spirituality, since some people have that associated with some pretty violent concepts. So whether we want to call it intention, purpose, spirituality, that for me is the most important component of what I mean by nonviolent communication. And unless that consciousness is really what is guiding us, whatever comes out would not be what I would probably call nonviolent communication. So what is that purpose or intention? To create a certain quality of connection with ourselves and with other people. To create a connection that allows compassionate giving and receiving to take place naturally. So it's all about compassionate giving and receiving. How do we connect with ourselves and others so that that takes place naturally? Now, what do I mean by compassionate giving and receiving? So nonviolent communication is designed to show us a way in which we can connect with ourselves and others so that we operate out of a different energy than that created by rewards, punishment, criticism, praise, duty, obligation. So, what is compassionate giving and receiving? First, it's where you can't tell the giver from the receiver. It's hard to use the word giver when it's compassionate giving, because the giver is receiving, is doing this to meet their own needs. Now, as radical as that sounds, that nonviolent communication is designed to have us give always when we're just doing it to meet our own needs. It sounds pretty radical, and if you have certain ears on, it can sound selfish, except I don't think human beings ever do anything for any other reason. I doubt that anybody in this room has ever done something for somebody else. I believe that human beings are like every other form of life. Every action that's taken by something alive is to serve its life. It's only because we've been educated for the last 7,000 or 8,000 years to live within domination structures that we have been educated in a most unnatural way. Instead of like every other form of life, to get our needs fulfilled, we have been educated to associate our needs with selfishness, neediness. Needs are seen as kind of immature, dependent, weak. Just about everything negative that you can associate something with, needs have been associated with, because the structures we have created to live with under and on our planet require people being educated to be nice, dead people. And what you must program them to believe is that our job is to do that which our superiors define as right, so that we can be rewarded. If we do that while we are alive, then when we're dead, we go to this place called heaven. If we fail at that game of obeying authority, we go to the other place called Detroit. I mean hell. Growing up in Detroit, I get those two places mixed up. So, nonviolent communication is designed to help us to meet our own needs. And one of our strongest needs, according to Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist, the strongest need is a need for meaning, purpose. And however we define that, I believe it boils down to serving life. That our strongest need is to find a way to serve life. So we never do anything for others. If we're really doing it out of a conscious energy, we're doing it to meet our need to enrich life. There's nothing we like better than to enrich life, unless we think we're being forced to do it. So, all of these words, in the context that they're used, really means that the speaker's needs have not been met. And tragically, this is the only way they've been educated to express their needs. So nonviolent communication is a language of life. It's based on two questions. And it says, if we know how to answer these two questions well, and hear these two questions from other people being answered, we'll enjoy human beings a lot more, they'll enjoy us a lot more, and we'll have peace and harmony in our relationships. If we keep our consciousness focused on these two questions. Question number one, what's alive in us? What's alive?
What's alive?
Yeah. It's the most asked question on our planet, because it's the most natural question. It's something that, until we've been brainwashed, we obviously want to know. But it's seldom expressed that way. In the culture I grew up in, you didn't say to somebody, what's alive in you? You say, how are you? ¿Cómo está ¿Cómo está usted? Wie geht's? In Rwanda, Amakuru, everywhere. It's a natural question. So we're taught to ask the question, but it's a social ritual. We're not taught to really answer it, because we haven't been given a language of life. So we all know the answer to it. How are you? Fine, how are you? So that's a social nicety, but it's tragic to make something so important into a social nicety. So that's question number one. And question number two, no words can describe for me what's alive. What's alive, because what's alive, I believe, is a divine energy. I think life is evidence of a divine energy. The best I've learned how to put it into words is, what am I feeling? What am I needing? But it doesn't capture the beauty of life. But I don't know better words for capturing the beauty of life. I'm just grateful to Alfred Korzybski, the father of general semantics, when he says that the map is never the territory. Words never really describe what we're talking about. They're just a map. And the more profoundly beautiful something is, the less the map does the trick. And to me, divine energy coming through human beings, what words can describe it? The best map I've found are needs. What is a person's needs? And related to needs are feelings. Our feelings are a manifestation of what's happening to our needs. When the needs are being fulfilled, we feel what we call pleasureful feelings. The best I've learned, if I'm going to use words to describe the beauty of divine energy coming through people, are feelings and needs. And then, related to that question is the other. What would make life more wonderful? Or another way of saying that, what would meet these needs? So, the language I've pulled together, which I've labeled Nonviolent Communication, is the best language that I've learned for capturing those two questions. But I seldom speak that language formally. I seldom use the four components that I've found best capture that technically: observation, feelings, needs, request. I'd say 90% of the time I speak idiomatically. Okay. That's this way of telling me I'm talking too much. Thank you. Okay, so I will get them more involved. You turned it on.